afternoon or evening of January 8th, which was yesterday, Donald Trump addressed the nation about the border wall and things going about it. I didn't get a chance to see it because no one said when it would air, where it would air, or anything like that. And since I don't have paid TV, I don't get CBS, NBC, and all that other stuff because I don't even care about them in the first place. But I haven't heard anything from Secular Talk, TYT, Tom Hartman, or anything. RT did upload something, did highlights and their reaction to it. I didn't hear their reaction, only got halfway through the highlighted segment, but that's what I decided to just pirate. I just took that right off there. So this is RT's coverage of Trump's addressing of the nation from the White House about the border wall, and I am going to have my reactions to that. I only watched about half of it, I think. Maybe I got that far. But I'm going to give my reactions on that. So I just want to give that caveat before getting started. So here goes.
Because there is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. Every day, Customs and Border Patrol agents encounter thousands of illegal immigrants trying to enter our country. We are out of space to hold them, and we have no way to promptly return them back home to their country. America proudly welcomes millions of lawful immigrants who enrich our society and contribute to our nation.
So let me get this right. They're all illegal. They come in illegally. They're just illegal. That's just it, and they send their worst. That's the message he's sent all this time. And now he's saying, you know what, we just can't hold them. Our prison systems, I don't know, maybe if we get rid of some of the, all the people that have not committed a crime, and then we'll have a place to hold these people who are coming here seeking asylum. Maybe we can imprison those that are seeking asylum. We'll have a place to hold them there. Does that sound barbaric and just as jacked up as what he was saying? I'm pretty sure it does. So, he just sits here and lies. Just look at his dumbass face. I'm not going to lie. I just want to smash his face right into the fucking screen. That's just me, though. Maybe it's you, too. But then he says, after all of this crap, he says to welcome those who come in lawfully, legally and whatnot. And I'm like, the ones that are seeking asylum are actually doing it legally and lawfully. And they're being demonized, tortured, raped, murdered, criminally neglected to death, legit death. So what is he really saying that enrich our nation and whatnot? He's talking about Saudi princes. He's talking about kings and queens and royalties and shit from other countries that dump millions and billions of dollars into our establishment's pockets. That's what he's talking about. And when he's talking about the nations, he's not talking about you little lower class motherfuckers. He ain't talking about you middle class motherfuckers. He's talking about those upper class people. The ones that are easily making $10 million and more. That's why Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez used that number specifically. Trump don't give a damn about giving a damn. He just don't. So when he's talking about all of these immigrants and crap like that, all he's saying is we don't like people that's not white, but we do like people that's not white, but got millions and billions of dollars to give us. That's all he's saying because he's a reputable piece of shit. He is a credible asshole. This guy is the most legitimate piece of scum I have seen, but he's great because he's fucking honest about how fucking stupid he is. So let's be happy about that. It just takes somebody with two brain cells rubbed together just to hear how backwoods and backwater he is. Now let's keep going.
But all Americans are hurt by uncontrolled illegal migration.
Name some legal migration that we're hurt by. Why don't you name some of that? I would think 9/11 would be a good legal migration thing. I would think that when you dump pig waste and whatnot through deregulation, that hurts us. I would think when you detain our people in general, anyone that's below your little precious upper level living, just because they have weed on them, I would think that's hurting us. Killing lots of minorities just because they're not white and you're scared is hurting them. Fuck you.
It strains public resources and drives down jobs and wages. Among those hardest hit are African Americans and Hispanic Americans.
What drives down wages is when you have corporations who get lots of money from the taxpayers. You take hundreds of thousands and sometimes billions of dollars of taxpayer money and legit fork it over to companies making in excess of $100 billion a year, and some as little as $5 billion. I mean, you got to think about the poor companies, and you give it to them as welfare, but you call it subsidies. You make it a fancier word so that the poor dumbasses out there think that you're doing something different. And so while you give them welfare, you demonize social welfare. Social welfare meaning when you give all that money that you're giving to them, instead of to them, you give it to us because we need it. Because we're poor, we're broke, we're hurt, we're unhealthy. When you ship jobs overseas, you destroy everything of an infrastructure of financial gain. Wages have never gone down. Wages have only stagnated. So when the minimum wage goes up to $15 an hour, it's only because, and I want all of you to hear this, it's only because the corporations in general, with their monopolies, have raised the prices over a period of time to the breaking point. They find the point. This has happened in the 80s. It happened in the 50s. When you find that point where people stop buying a lot of stuff because you've incrementally raised the prices on anything. And then people say, I'm not buying this, I'm only buying what I need and nothing else. That is when the wage goes up. That's it. And right now, they're going to boost our wage up to what everyone's been begging for, but not what everyone actually needs. Basically, it's like a Bronx Tale. When Sonny said, I pay my people just enough where they don't leave me and they still need me. He finds that right line, and that's what he does. So his people are good, but they are still in need. And that's what these companies are doing. And Trump is trying to put this on, saying, look, everyone is suffering because of immigrants. You know what suffers? When the people who have their visas and come to the United States and buys Trump and the Republicans and the Democrats off, and then those same assholes ship our jobs overseas and say, blame the people south of the border. And then also, didn't you know, some car companies, they left Michigan again, and now they're going south of the border, and they're going to do their line there. So cheap work, higher production, and we get shafted. Thousands of people laid off work. So again, fuck you, Trump, and fuck you, Republicans. Just fuck y'all, man.
Our southern border is a pipeline for vast quantities of illegal drugs, including meth, heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl.
Let's be clear. Let's keep it real. Those drugs initially were imported into the United States through the CIA and FBI, and they were flooded into the poorest communities just to make sure there was a reason to police those communities. And not only did those drugs hype things up so that minority communities would turn on each other, because that stuff is so addictive. You'll do anything to get more. You will rob your friend. You will rob your house. You will sell your stuff. And in all communities, even white communities, all right, all little communities, they sold their own stuff, robbed from their parents, robbed from their girlfriends, their boyfriends. They did whatever they could to get it. They have killed each other for that stuff, but they don't do it for weed. That's why the CIA and FBI do not import weed. That's why they've never had to do it. But these other drugs, now they're being produced here. Their meth labs, their cocaine rings and everything here. It's honestly hit Mexico a bit hard, because all that stuff is being made here. So now Mexico has to deal that stuff south of them, as well as pieces of north of us that exported from the United States to other areas across seas. Mexico's dealing, their drug lords, they actually deal more overseas and south of their border, more so than the United States of America. So let's keep that real. And more Mexicans are leaving the United States than coming in, because their jobs are going back to Mexico. So that's where, and plus they got a better leader than we got. At least he wants to do something positive for the people and not for the wealthy. Keep that shit real. That's how I see it.
Every week, 300 of our citizens are killed by heroin alone, 90% of which floods across from our southern border. More Americans will die from drugs this year than were killed in the entire Vietnam War.
Actually, the opioid epidemic is what's killing most people. The opioid epidemic, you know, that thing that Big Pharma has created, and then they lobby to the business of hospitals, the business of healing, the business of medical, the business of Medicare, the business of robbing people of their financial security through hurting them. That opioids have killed exactly the amount of people you're talking about, if not more. Opioids, look, my friend Logie Meacham, Lorenzo Logie Meacham, died because he was taking opioids. That's just one of the reasons. That's just one minor reason. But opioids dries out the system, dehydrates you, and when you got to take 2 or 3 and the doctor says take more, which the doctor did at the VA, take more if you're still in pain, take more. You need to take 2, okay, take 3. You're taking 3, you know what, double it. And he did, dried him out. He could not keep his fluids in. And when you can't keep fluids in, your blood thickens. When the blood thickens, the heart has to pump harder. Then there's not enough blood for the heart, you're done. And that's partially of what killed him. So since your dumb ass don't know what you're talking about, I think the problem is we need somebody in leadership, because that's what we have, a leadership. We don't have a public servant, which is what the United States president is. He's a public servant, just like anybody else that's in Congress. Any one of those 3 branches, they are a fucking servant to us. But we are following the servants. That's like the parents taking orders from the child. Think about that.
In the last 2 years, ICE officers made 266,000 arrests of aliens with criminal records, including those charged or convicted of 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 violent killings.
In short, Trump hasn't said anything. What he's doing is just simply saying, hey, everyone that hates the minorities and the immigrants, this is the reason why they hate them, because they did this. When really you want to talk about murders and killings, well, let's just simply talk about, you know what you could say? Hey, you know what? We today arrested every single officer, and, well, you know what? No, we have arrested 25% of all United States officers of the law, and each one of them has done criminal activity by killing an unarmed person. They have raped people. Okay, they have molested people. They have criminally neglected those in their prisons, and they have died. We have captured many officers of the law, and we've captured attorneys that have made practices that has caused harm, damaged families, U.S. families, and we're going to secure ourselves from these types of super predators. Oh yeah, the inflection in my voice. So that's what he could say, because that's what officers have been great at. They've been great at murdering. So if you want to capture some people that's murdered, let's go after these officers that have not been on an actual fair trial, because a fair trial wouldn't say they're an officer, let them go. Or don't you know how hard it is for an officer? You know what? It's hard going through childbirth. So if a woman has a gun and shoots somebody in the head when she's pushing, trying to get that 8-pound baby out, is it all right? Because it's a hard job. A firefighter has a hard job. He goes into a building, comes out with a gun and shoots some people. It's a hard job. It was dangerous going in there. Just think about that shit. You know, just think about it.
Over the years, thousands of Americans have been brutally killed by those who illegally entered our country, and thousands more lives will be lost if we don't act right now.
Yes, please act now. Don't do this Second Amendment argument. Oh, no, because nobody even understands that. Nobody understands how much of equality that really speaks of that we can't have today. But we can act now, and we can actually get the guns off the streets. We can actually do away with a lot of these issues and loopholes and make it so that you have to go through an extensive background check and waiting period and pay an absorbent amount of money just to own a firearm. If you're going to kill somebody at a distance, if you're going to take someone's life in the self-proclaiming of self-defense, at least pay for it. Let the person dying know that you paid a lot of money to take their life. You don't want to just shoot into a random car full of people playing music loudly at a railroad track for nothing now, do you?
This is a humanitarian crisis, a crisis of the heart and a crisis of the soul. Last month, 20,000 migrant children were illegally brought into the United States, a dramatic increase. These children are used as human pawns by vicious coyotes and ruthless gangs. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted on the dangerous trek up through Mexico. Women and children are the biggest victims, by far, of our broken system. This is the tragic reality of illegal immigration on our southern border.
Does Brett Kavanaugh ring a bell about rape, molestation? What about the migrant girl? Was she brought in illegally? Yeah, she was, because they're trying to live a better life. You know, with our streets paved with gold and the wealthiest country on the planet and the better life that our upper class boasts about that we don't get a chance to see. Yeah, well, not see, but experience. We can look all we want, but we can't touch. Yeah, what about Brett Kavanaugh and all of his stuff? What about some of the other Supreme Court judges and all of their stuff? What about Donald Trump, who didn't say he grabbed girls by the pussy? He just said, you can get away with anything. You can do what you want. They'll let you do anything, grab them by the pussy. Well, yes, of course he's saying he's done it, but just saying, he didn't say he did it in that line. That's about the only defense I can give this asshole. Now, what about the 6-year-old girl that was a detainee that I brought up a few times already in past videos that was raped by ICE officials and then forced to sign her name, claiming responsibility that she did not dissuade them from doing it? Since she couldn't spell her own name, she had to write the letter D. She's 6 years old. 6. And they just said, hey, yeah, we're going to be monsters. See, the criminals aren't the ones that's coming here. They're actually fleeing criminals into the hands of criminals. So basically, Trump and anyone else that just don't get it, the situation is this. And anyone that's listening, please hear this out. The United States are monsters where people get raped consistently. In prison, men are raped on a massive scale. Women get raped too in prison. Also, what about the guy that raped a girl and says, look, yeah, I roofied her and got her down. Then his father says, you can't ruin his whole career over a few seconds of fun. The whole Me Too movement was, hey, it happened to me too. I can talk about it. Even Terry Crews got groped by a guy. He got groped. Come on. It's not an epidemic. It's just simply some people. It seems like a lot of people, they have privilege. They've got power. They get used to it because who's going to say anything about it? And we have such a 2-tier justice system that we don't have a justice system. We have it depends on who the fuck you are system. That's the issue we have. So while Trump is doing all this stuff and hyping up his base, the same base that probably just beat the shit out of their wife and molested some kid and sitting there like, yeah, you killed them molesters. At the same time, they're finna go do it again. So I'm just saying, it's a bunch of fucking hypocrites and they're projecting.
This is the cycle of human suffering that I am determined to end.
Just real quick, I know you're tired of all the breaks, but just real quick, that's like the wolf saying, I'm going to end the slaughtering of chickens. That's like saying the pedophile, I'm going to end all of this child molestation. That's like the pimp trying to get rid of prostitution. That's like the hooker trying to get rid of street sex. You know, that's like the chop shop trying to not sell parts. Come on. That's some dumb shit. You know, I'm not going to be corrupt anymore. Right.
My administration has presented Congress with a detailed proposal to secure the border and stop the criminal gangs, drug smugglers, and human traffickers. It's a tremendous problem. Our proposal was developed by law enforcement professionals and border agents at the Department of Homeland Security. These are the resources they have requested to properly perform their mission and keep America safe. In fact, safer than ever before.
Big Pharma hikes up prices by 600%, and that is soon to be 1,200%. That is criminal. Cops killing people and getting away with it, that's criminal. Selling the country for big oil, starting a war in the Middle East, killing hundreds of thousands of people, committing various war crimes just for a trans-Arabian pipeline instead of going for a green deal where we can have wind and solar and even water turbine power. We can do all of that. Wait, the fracking, we're screwed on that, because now you can start an earthquake if you try to open up a new river somewhere near a fault line. So we've got all that. So after he demonizes everyone, he's talking about, we're going to make America safer than ever was before. That shit worked when you was a dumbass 30-some-year-old starting your own businesses and stuff, using your daddy's money, claiming it to be your own. And then later when he dies, you say that he's had no help for you at all and he's done nothing. But yeah, that stuff worked back then, back in those olden days, and all you got to do is promise big things. Big things. We're going to do big things. It's going to be tremendous. It's going to be great. And these good people here are going to help me. Those good people there are going to help me. These people behind me are great people. Anyone that supports you and is loyal to you are good and great people. And you bolster the confidence of those that you're talking about and talking to. And then you're in the center of attention. And then you get what you want. They get nothing when your shit fails because you couldn't run a fucking business. All right? That's pretty much how that goes. Honestly, if I had Trump's money, there's no way I would lose money, because I know what I would have done. I would have opened up one casino in every major city in every state, and I would have just chilled. That just would have been it. And I wouldn't touch anything else. That's how that goes. Let's keep going.
The proposal from Homeland Security includes cutting-edge technology for detecting drugs, weapons, illegal contraband, and many other things. We have requested more agents, immigration judges, and bed space to process the sharp rise in unlawful migration fueled by our very strong economy. Our plan also contains an urgent request for humanitarian assistance and medical support. Furthermore, we have asked Congress to close border security loopholes so that illegal immigrant children can be safely and humanely returned back home.
So to any audience listening, would these be the same children that were humanely taken away from their parents and then programmed? I mean, they were indoctrinated into thinking that their parents abandoned them, then given back to their parents after a few months, and then that they don't want to be around the parent because they believe the parent has failed them. That humane stuff? You know, is that what he's talking about? Because that's what it sounds like what he's talking about. It sounds like the children that were taken and blindfolded and beaten on and ridiculed and half waterboarded, you know, just because LOL is funny and we can get away with it. That's what it sounds like he's talking about. It sounds like, you know, I mean, like, you already got drug sniffing dogs and stuff. I mean, isn't that enough? And I'm just saying, and look, let me just say this. Let me say this. It doesn't matter who they murdered over there in Mexico or Brazil or any other place, Argentina or Argentina or anything like that. No. Once they cross that border, all that mess don't matter unless there's a joint operation from Mexico to the United States that wants to capture this person or these persons. That's how that go. They're seeking asylum. They are not guilty. And all of that mess don't matter. Once they're here, they got what's it called? A second chance. You know, just because they aren't giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to a judge to falsely claim that you're not guilty, which is not the same as innocent, but it's just saying they get a second chance. You can't persecute them or prosecute them or falsely imprison them or demonize them basically because of what they have done in another country. No matter how many years ago it was, or weeks ago, or moments ago, they got a chance. That's probably all they want, to stop having to do criminal activity. So they come here so they don't have to do criminal activity, but then they're judged a criminal. So how does that sound? That's some stupid shit by the United States right now, to not give people seeking a second chance a second chance. Because people are fucking stupid. Fucking dumbass.
Finally, as part of an overall approach to border security, law enforcement professionals have requested $5.7 billion for a physical barrier. At the request of Democrats, it will be a steel barrier rather than a concrete wall. This barrier is absolutely critical to border security. It's also what our professionals at the border want and need. This is just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself. The cost of illegal drugs exceeds $500 billion a year, vastly more than the $5.7 billion we have requested from Congress. The wall will also be paid for indirectly by the great new trade deal we have made with Mexico. Senator Chuck Schumer, who you will be hearing from later tonight, has repeatedly supported a physical barrier in the past, along with many other Democrats. They changed their mind only after I was elected president.
It doesn't matter if the border wall is made of steel, concrete, aluminum, yarn. You know, it don't matter if it was Christmas tree tinsel. Right now, they are still burrowing under the fucking wall. There are people that have that have climbed over the wall using a fucking grappling hook and a small anchor with rope haphazardly tied to it, and they climbed it. They've done that, and some are chipping away at the wall to knock it down. This wall is stupid, and then it's so critical. This wall is so critical. Look, if you can see the sky over the wall at any distance, you can get over the wall. If up under the wall is ground, I don't care how hard it is. If it is soil, you can tunnel under it. And you don't have to tunnel directly under it. You know, that criminal Chapo, he got out of prison from tunneling. So it's a fucking wall, man. You know, we got ants in this house every once in a while. Tiny ants, they come under the wall. And he's talking about Schumer and all of the Democrats. Yeah, some of them wanted a wall before because they thought about it. And you know what? Yeah, you know, a wall would be good. But they want a wall as in what this dumbass is thinking. The wall was metaphorical for just some kind of barrier, some kind of task force that would check. That was the whole point, to check immigrants. And then get them checked into a system and then into the United States or taken back home, depending upon why they're here and other things. It was a checkpoint that they wanted, and it would have been a good one. But the Republicans didn't want it because they kept calling it basically migrant apologists and just saying they want to just deregulate security of the United States. And people ran with that mess. So now that Trump is in, he's like, I want an actual physical wall. And everyone's like, that's stupid. No. Gorbachev, you tear down this wall. Remember that? So, just saying. One wall was, you know, the Berlin Wall, I think it was. I wish she was here to correct me. She's asleep. It's 2 a.m. But, yeah, it was a wall. Reagan got torn down. Yay, freedoms. And now we're like, guess what? Let's just do the opposite of the old Gipper. Let's just put one up. You know, let's just show we don't want to be a part of anything on this planet. We're doomed. We're tremendously, sadly, pathetically doomed.
Democrats in Congress have refused to acknowledge the crisis, and they have refused to provide our brave border agents with the tools they desperately need to protect our families and our nation. The federal government remains shut down for one reason, and one reason only, because Democrats will not fund border security.
So you don't give me what I want, I'm going to hurt these people. Don't George Bush everybody. Don't George Bush people, because that's what you did. You know, I mean, Afghanistan attacks, you know, and then we attack it out. It's like, you know, the guy on the left slap you, so you hit the girl on the right. Don't George Bush people. I want my $5 billion or $25 billion. You're not going to give it to me? Well, you know what? All these people are going to suffer and not work, not pay their bills. People aren't going to get their taxes. Well, I think they might get their taxes on time now. I think the IRS did something. But yeah, that sounds like extortion. It sounds like something that a terrorist would do, you know? I mean, how many terrorists sit there and say, look, if you don't give us this, we're going to kill some people. You know? How many people say, look, we done killed some people. Oh, no, yeah, you want to keep people dying? You know, is that what you want? Then don't give us what we want. You haven't made demands. We do have demands. We're not going to go with these demands. Okay, kill some more people. Because that's what's going on. You know, if they can't work, they going to get paid. You don't work, you get paid. There's a fucking problem with that. You know, and if these people that you've sent home, the reason the shutdown happened was Donald Trump. The reason the shutdown keeps going on is Donald Trump and the other Republicans and a couple of Democrats. That's what the issue is. It's not like, you know what? We're going to change our minds all of a sudden. Everyone goes back to work. No, I'm going to just stop the shutdown. But no, it's a hostage situation. It's a hostage situation. And would the Democrats fold? They probably will. But if I was there, I'd be like, nope, fuck you. You're not getting the money, and we're going to exploit the fact that you're going to have these people going without for so long and suffering because you're not getting your little wall for 33% of the country. 33% of the country, maybe less by now, just racist dumbasses. And I fear it's really more than that. They just don't know it. So, okay, hopefully this is almost done. This is long. And yes, I get it. It's also long because I'm doing a lot of talking. But yeah, we keep going.
My administration is doing everything in our power to help those impacted by the situation. But the only solution is for Democrats to pass a spending bill that defends our borders and reopens the government. This situation could be solved in a 45-minute meeting. I have invited congressional leadership to the White House tomorrow to get this done. Hopefully, we can rise above partisan politics in order to support national security.
If people could rise above partisan politics, number one, there wouldn't be a Republican in politics. That's first and foremost. If people could rise above partisan politics, right now, there wouldn't be a Democratic and then a progressive Democratic side, which is in the Democratic Party. You wouldn't have that. What you would have is, oh, you are not for helping people. You do not get my vote. Instead, we have, I'm a Democrat. They're a Democrat. I'm going to vote for them. Well, this was just a Democrat. Well, what's a just a Democrat? That's new. I don't know about the new stuff. Don't trust that new stuff over there. I'm going to vote for the one I know. The one you know is a racist. I don't know anybody else. His name recognition. I know this one. I'm going to vote for this one. Well, you like Trump? Why you vote for Trump? Oh, well, you know, he's wealthy. He's rich. He's white. He's for the same hatred stuff that I'm for. And I mean, it's not hate. It's just I have a different of opinion and I have different views. I'm going to vote for Trump. It's like, you stupid motherfucker. It's like, hey, don't be insulting me. That's pretty much how that goes. Just back and forth dumb shit because, you know, reasons. If we got past partisan politics, believe me, we probably wouldn't have much politics. It would just be a small government just doing what the people need to get shit done and make sure that everything is regulated so nobody is hurt, suffering, and everyone have a good progressive life. And I don't mean progressive as in party. I'm talking about progressive as in moving forward. Lowbrow, I tell you, lowbrow.
Some have suggested a barrier is immoral. Then why do wealthy politicians build walls, fences, and gates around their homes?
To keep out the little people that realize they got nothing. That started initially back, probably back in the 1600s, I think, 16 or 1700s, when abusive capitalism really started to take hold, and there was a difference between the high society people and the farmers, which were dubbed rednecks, because if you saw someone with a redneck, that means they work out in the sun and they are too low to be around your family. And so when you have these hobnobs that are sitting up in their little fucking castles, and you got everyone else that's starving, you got farmers. Think about farmers starving. They grow the food and they're starving. They herd the food, they grow the food, they butcher the food, and they starve because the wealthy people want to have it all. So when there's a revolt, you know what's going to happen? They're going to come after your ass because you've got it all. That's why it's like that. And now it's not to really keep them out. It's just, well, you got a large land and a nice wall and a fence. It just looks great because now it's just a thing to do. But at the back of their minds, they know if a revolt happens, they're going to need something to keep the people out. So now what's going to happen is if there is a revolt, they're going to be like, there's a wall. Climb over it. There you go. Get them. Oh, no, they got a security system. It's going off. Well, let's run away. The security's going off. No, it's going to be like, get the doors busted open because fuck them. Has anyone seen the Purge, the TV series? Yeah, I think about episode 7 is when this about happened. So, yeah, check that out. I don't know if the whole thing is worth watching. I don't know if season 2 is going to be worth watching. But, yeah, okay, let's keep going.
They don't build walls because they hate the people on the outside, but because they love the people on the inside. The only thing that is immoral is the politicians to do nothing and continue to allow more innocent people to be so horribly victimized. America's heart broke the day after Christmas when a young police officer in California was savagely murdered in cold blood by an illegal alien who just came across the border. The life of an American hero was stolen by someone who had no right to be in our country. Day after day, precious lives are cut short by those who have violated our borders.
I can't see what made that person a hero. Did they commit a selfless act of bravery? I mean, that's what a hero is. A hero isn't somebody that's just famous. A hero isn't somebody that survived something. A hero has to save someone or someone's or do something that benefits everyone. And it has to be selfless. A hero is selfless. Heroes jump in knowing the danger and stuff. But you know what? Aside from all that, what I'm saying, I mean, I'm just wondering if the person that killed this supposed hero was a U.S. citizen, would it be all right? Because I'll be honest with you, if this is what makes a hero to be slain, then, Trayvon Martin, he's a hero. Tamir Rice is a hero. The 6-year-old illegal immigrant that was raped, that's a hero. The people that march for hundreds, if not some thousands of miles over the deadliest parts of Mexico trying to get into the U.S. and then braving the U.S. people just to be in the U.S. That's brave. It's not a hero. It's outright bravery. It is courage unmatched. That's what that is. There are lots of people slain by cops, but no one gives a damn. But when a cop gets killed, then all of a sudden there's a hoopla. And now with a cop killed by an immigrant, if that's even true, It's hard to trust him. If this son of a bitch told me that I had African descent, blood in my body, I'd be like, I doubt that shit. I'd be like, I think it just might be complete Native American. Fuck that shit. I don't know. I wouldn't trust this motherfucker if he told me I was in the house right now. That's how much I trust Trump. You know, yeah, I'm just throwing out rationality, but this don't make sense. You know, and all he's doing is saying, look, the immigrant killed an officer. What about the U.S. citizens that kill officers? What about the officers and veterans that are hurt and put on opioids and then pay Big Pharma all this money and then die? Is he going to mention any of that? I doubt it. Will anyone else mention that? I doubt it. So, I mean, oh yes, it could be solved in 45 minutes. No, it couldn't. No, it can't. You're fucking stupid if you think you can. Ugh. Fucking dumbass.
In California, an Air Force veteran was raped, murdered, and beaten to death with a hammer by an illegal alien with a long criminal history.
Well, shit. Lock him up. There you go. Case solved. If you know he did it, then prove that he did it. But make sure he has enough lawyers that it takes a long time to get a judgment, and then make sure it's by a jury of his peers, so it has to be other illegal immigrants as well. You know, so make sure that shit happens. You really don't want to ruin this person's life over a few moments of fun.
In Georgia, an illegal alien was recently charged with murder for killing, beheading, and dismembering his neighbor.
That made me think about that guy that was on bath salts or something, and he ate those people's faces. You know, I think about Jeffrey Dahmer. I think about the Boston bomber. I think about, you know, there's a lot of white people that commit a lot of crimes. But let's worry about these fucking immigrants. There was the DC sniper. They were black. 2 black people out of an old caddy. There was that. And then there's that black dude that had the screwdriver that didn't put it down and was walking on the side of the house and got shot by the cop. I remember that guy. And that homeless guy that had the knife and that was 20 feet away from the officers and got shot by about 10 officers. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that guy, and the guy that was on the mountainside, and you know he was homeless, living in a tent. They shot him. Then shot him with lethal force, and then shot him with beanbag rounds, and then used a tat dog on him, just to make sure. And then the black kid that was running and hopped the fence and then had his cell phone, he got shot center mass, and then, they held the gun on him just in case he was still alive, although he bled out and died quickly. And he was shot in the heart, might I add. And they handcuffed him, just to be sure that he couldn't fight back. I think about that shit.
In Maryland, MS-13 gang members who arrived in the United States as unaccompanied minors were arrested and charged last year after viciously stabbing and beating a 16-year-old girl.
I'm not sure if it was the Maryland girl. It might have been the California girl. It might have been the Arizona girl. But I'll say this. If you're talking about the same girl, the one that left school, kept kind of not going to school because she was afraid for her life. And the reason that MS-13 was upset with her is because the dude tried to hook up with her and she was like, no. So he felt offended and he was like, I have to kill the bitch. And she was like, I'm not going to school. And her mom was like, you're going to go to school. And she's like, I'm scared. They're going to attack me. They might rape me. They might kill me. And mom was like, you got to go to school. And she was like, I'm going to tell the school staff. And the school staff was like, and she's like, I can't do this. And then they force her to go to school. She gets killed. And then the mom's like, I don't understand. And the school board's like, I can't believe this happened. And I'm like, everyone involved needs to be put in prison. And then whatever the daughter got before dying, they get, but not the death part, because they got to suffer.
Over the last several years, I've met with dozens of families whose loved ones were stolen by illegal immigration. I've held the hands of the weeping mothers and embraced the grief-stricken fathers. So sad, so terrible. I will never forget the pain in their eyes, the tremble in their voices, and the sadness gripping their souls. How much more American blood must we shed before Congress does its job? For those who refuse to compromise in the name of border security, I would ask, imagine if it was your child, your husband, or your wife, whose life was so cruelly shattered and totally broken.
That is the very same thing that everyone asks their politicians and those in the middle class and the upper class. We little people ask, what if you was going through this shit? What would you do? How would you feel? You goddamn cretinous mother.
To every member of Congress, pass a bill that ends this crisis. To every citizen, call Congress and tell them to finally, after all of these decades, secure our border.
No, don't do that. Ask Congress to secure your lives, and don't ask, demand. You pay them, you tell them what to do.
This is a choice between right and wrong, justice and injustice. This is about whether we fulfill our sacred duty to the American citizens we serve. When I took the oath of office, I swore to protect our country, and that is what I will always do. So help me God.
I ain't helping you do shit.
Thank you and good night.
Okay, since he's bidding adieu, then, you know, it's 2:39 a.m. now. So, yeah, took me a while to do this, and I think we're going to break it up into sections because this shit is long. Yeah, I'm going to break it up into sections. You'll only know that when you get to the final one and hear this. Yeah. So, get back to working on this wrestler and doing other stuff for my wrestling site. And look, hey, don't click off yet, please. So look, you want to contact me, you can. If you want me to talk about something, you want to ask me a question directly, and you know what, you can do so at my email for this. My email is questioncr@gmail.com. That's what it is. I'll put it down in the description. You can, you want to join up on, you want to join me on Discord. Hey, there's 2 that's joined so far, and I'm happy about them. I had a great conversation with one of them. Awesome, long, fun-filled, laughing conversation, and that was fun. Maybe we'll do maybe a little collab or something like that. Just talk about something, just shoot the shit for a little bit. Also, you can look minds.com, minds.com, comparative reasoning, one word. You can go there. I would put it up on Facebook for you to find it for those that do use Facebook. Problem is Facebook blocks mine because Minds is a direct enemy of Facebook. There's 2 others I might look out for as well. So yeah, you can reach me there. You can also reach me on Twitter at C_reasoning. So those are places you can reach me. I'm even if I somehow got super popular, I'm going to talk to you because that's what I do. I don't believe my own hype. I believe you all are the hype, and I enjoy you. So this is Cedric Kennedy for Comparative Reasoning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you.